time for talking is over. It's time to push buttons. Call optical illusions, tell them I need new frames. So, Sonic the Hedgehog was a movie that released last year, and it was one of those films that I was hesitant about it, and I did have an opportunity to go and see it, but I ended up not doing so. I ended up instead going to see the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie, which I thought was okay. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and now here we are. But I'd heard a lot of things about Sonic the Hedgehog, both positive and negative, and so I eventually purchased it for myself, sat down, watched it through, and here's the thing. When the original trailer with the bad CGI Sonic dropped online, I had a family member who actually did go to see the film, and they said they were mainly going to see it because of how awful it had previously looked, and they thought it was going to be a dumpster fire, and they were actually disappointed. It actually turned out to be a fairly good film, which is rather odd because everything was stacked against Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, compared to other people who maybe grew up in more of the late 90s and 2000s, I don't actually have that much of a relationship with Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I knew of the character when I was in primary school, and that eventually led to me getting the PS2 game Sonic Mega Collection Plus, which included kind of facsimiles of several Sonic games from throughout the years, including Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So it had a kind of facsimiles of all of these games, and I played them quite a lot. I think the furthest I ever managed to get with one of them was one time I sat down to play Sonic 2, and I actually managed to get to, I think, the penultimate level. It was on high in the sky. I was trying to eventually kind of gain access to Robotnik's plane, but I didn't manage to complete it, and even if I had, from what I've seen online, I would have technically failed it because I didn't complete the bonus levels to collect the Chaos Emeralds, so I would have gotten a game over screen from Dr. Robotnik and sent all the way back to the beginning. So, you know what, maybe it's best I didn't, but as I said, I only really knew of Sonic from that, to which my other encounters with Sonic were eventually the Nintendo Sega team-up games of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games and Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games. So, yeah, I don't have as much of a relationship with Sonic as other people, but you know what? I still bought the movie. I still sat down and watched it through, and while I think most of us were expecting a dumpster fire, it actually turned out to be a decent film. I mean, I don't know if it'll go down as one of the all-time greats, but still, for its first outing, it's a decent go. So you got Sonic, the iconic blue hedgehog, voiced by Ben Schwartz. After a somewhat problematic childhood, he eventually makes his way to our planet, where he builds a kind of non-existent relationship with a local town in the town of Green Hills, where he observes a married couple named Tom Wachowski and his wife Maddie, played by James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. Now, this is very familiar ground for James Marsden, having it's essentially another version of his film Hop. Only this time you've got a video game blue hedgehog in the place of the Easter Bunny. So, Now, Tom and Maddie are preparing to make a move from Green Hills to San Francisco so that Tom could become a proper full-time cop. But then when Sonic arrives, things start to go wrong, and he ultimately finds himself up against Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey. Now, Jim Carrey is without a doubt the best thing in this film. I mean, it's Jim Carrey's had an up and down career. I mean, he's had some good stuff, such as Bruce Almighty and his work on Saturday Night Live, but then he's also had a few missteps over the years. So while I love his Riddler in Batman Forever, it's fair to say that one isn't necessarily his best. And he's had a few ups and downs. So, you know what? But this is definitely a resurgence for him. I mean, he is just a riot in this film, and to be honest, he's the perfect cast for Robotnik. He's just having such fun in every single scene, chewing the scenery, and you just love him for it. Now, One thing I did note from the trailers, when it came out, was that I think this trailer came out shortly after Legends of Tomorrow season 3 had concluded. And one of the things that I was thinking about the general Arrowverse at the time was that can we go a season without having Neil McDonough involved? Now, Neil McDonough, he had a, he had been the main villain of Arrow season 4 and one of the villains of Legends of Tomorrow season 2 and one of the main villains of season 3. So I remember at the time I had been thinking about the Arrowverse. Look, can we just have at least one season without Damien Dark involved somewhere? I mean, Neil McDonough is a great actor. He's done some good work, but I think Damien Dark needs to be given a rest for just a little while. And then the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog dropped, and I saw Neil McDonough was in there. I was like, you know what? We can keep Neil McDonough. He doesn't need to go away. We can keep Damien Dark. It's not that big a deal. But then Neil McDonough only really shows up in this film. He's Major Bennington. He only really shows up for about 5 minutes for Jim Carrey to essentially assert his dominance over his troops. But you know what? It was nice to see him in there. And okay, they did accept my request that we he wasn't in the Arrowverse for a little while at least. Now, the thing about Sonic is that it pretty much had everything stacked against it from the beginning. I mean, number one, this is a plot that's been done a lot. It's been done many times before, including Alvin and the Chipmunks, Enchanted, Fat Albert, Master of the Universe, and the Smurfs. Basically, you've got a fictional character or a character that's fictional in our world coming into our world and having trouble fitting in while trying to do something that'll take them on a long quest. That's the basic plot, and it's been done, as I said, many times before. But then it also has the added kind of roadblock of being a video game movie. And while there are some that have actually managed to kind of fight against it and manage to do something good, such as I believe the Tomb Raider movies are actually decent, a lot of them aren't actually considered that good, such as Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Blood Rain, Warcraft, the Angry Birds movie, and Super Mario Brothers. So it had a lot going against it, but honestly, it managed to come out fairly well. I mean, it's fun, it's action packed, it's got some great comedy moments. I do slightly wonder if it'll end up going in kind of an opposite parallel to what Super Mario Brothers ended up going through with their film. The Super Mario Brothers movie was a critical bomb, but in the last few years it has gained status as sort of a cult classic. I do wonder if kind of the opposite could happen with Sonic. I'm just wondering that if this is a film that's actually seen as kind of good for most audiences nowadays, but then kind of just slides into obscurity. I do worry slightly if that'll happen, but you know what? For a first time go out, I mean, they're set to get a sequel due to come next year, which may end up being good or bad. I mean, they're introducing Tails, so that's good. But you know what? I think overall, on the whole, while I don't have the strongest relationship with Sonic, I think the first Sonic movie is pretty good. I can't say it's one of the all-time greats, but you know what? For a decent bit of cinema, I think it's worth your time. Especially if you have kids. Kids will really enjoy this film. Anyway, the next film I'm hoping to review on this channel is The New Mutants, which I got the DVD for, and when I'm done with that, I'll let you know. I also have had some requests to maybe look at branching off into some other form of entertainment here, not just reviews. I'll definitely have a think about it, and you know what? I'll see you soon. Anyway, until then, gotta go fast.